Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Mariano.
Good
I
morning.
understand that my name is being
Yes, I
called.
called you. I called you, right?
Oh, you called me. That's
Not too
great,
bad,
man.
yes, because I called you
Yes,
because I said that we don't. One key thing, and I needed to have from the policy, what people have been concerned with is that
yes,
government money was used to bail out policyholders, and then policyholders have gone along scot free, and the government has been left holding the bath water, so to speak, and the
right.
baby has gone,
And I
right?
hope you cleared up that for them.
Well, I told them that what you so I want it from you, the policyholders group,
Okay.
right?
Sure, sure.
Because
I'd
I
be
have
happy to
made
do
the
that.
point that when
Yes,
when Mr. Jeremy stands up and say that they spent $28 billion of government money, right?
yes,
That he's only telling one part of the story. He didn't say how much
absolutely.
money he cut back,
Exactly.
right?
Yes. No, I'd be happy to clear that up. In addition to what I'm sure you'd have done it very well, but I would just add to what you're saying. At the end of the day, the government benefited from this bailout, I must say. Because as you would recall, Mariano, and that figure that Mr. Jeremy called seemed to be a moving target. Because my recollection, it started off somewhere at around $23
Yes.
billion. Then it moved to 25.
Well, he did
And
say that about $3 or $5 billion in terms of legal costs.
yeah, so it is adding on to the actual bailout figure when it was in fact what was injected into Clico was really around 23 billion, and that had to do with the zero coupon bonds because they didn't inject cash. What they did is they issued bonds. So as you know, there's a promise to pay, and those bonds were zero
And
coupon
they paid
bonds
it
from
off
one
over time.
over time.
Yeah, they
Some of
only
those
paid.
bonds still in existence because it's 20 years from the date of the bailout, and the bailout was in 2012, I think around there, 2011, 2012. So you still have some years to go with people holding paper, government paper that they will get into the future. So the point is that you're correct. They were paid. The government was paid with cash in some instances and assets in lieu of cash. So they got the Republic Bank shares, they got Angostura shares, and the list goes on and on and on. And in addition to that, as you would recall, Mariano, there was an injection of of I think it was around what's my
You mean by the government in the form of preference
the,
shares?
yeah, that is what I'm trying to. Yeah, the preference shares, and that was at a rate of 4.75%.
Yeah, so they were.
So the government was making 4.75% off of the bailout in Clico, and that those preference shares have been totally paid off. I think somebody told me you made the point that the central bank maybe about 2 or 3 years ago they relinquished control of Clico. Remember they had a
Correct.
big press conference and
Yeah,
so on,
because they had
and they
recovered all
said
of their money.
they had recovered all their money. In fact, the then Minister of Finance, the former Minister of I should say, he came to the Parliament. I think it was in a question from Wade Mark, the then Senator Wade Mark, who asked about the bailout. I think that was under the MHIL sale. You recall that? Methanol Holdings
Correct.
International sale.
Yes.
When there was a dispute over how much money they actually got, or how much money they actually sold the asset for. Many said it was at an undervalue of some $300 million. So, in fact, Mario, my view is they should have another commission of inquiry post 2009
And
because a lot of things went on that are questionable, and I'm being very generous and kind here about that.
yes.
There are a lot of things that went on that are very questionable. But I also wanted to make the point, now that you have me on, that as I said, I think on the morning program on TV6, that this really is a travesty. The Commission of Inquiry has been a travesty of justice because the people who should be held culpable and action being taken against them, no one has been charged with anything. The late Lawrence Dupre, he has gone to the great beyond, and nothing has happened. And what we're talking about here is hundreds of millions of dollars, as you would know, Mariano, have been spent on all sorts of forensic audits, starting with Bob Lindquist. Then you had the Commission of Inquiry, which was another couple $100 million. And then you had Deloitte Touche, who's doing some sort of forensic audit that I can't understand what more audit they want than the Bob Lindquist.
Well, and the moral of the story is that no financial statements were ever produced.
Absolutely. And you see, the person I think who has some questions to answer, who has some explaining to do, and let me be a little bit more kind, is the DPP. Because you cannot tell me in a country like Trinidad and Tobago, where you have a public servant who has had the benefit of all these hundreds of millions of dollars to do all these audits, cannot come up with a charge against anybody after all of that, when people lost significant sums of money. In fact, policyholders have not yet been made whole. And I want to get your views on that, Mariano, because you pointed out, I think, during your preamble, that Clico is now in the black. They're profitable, highly profitable. And the question is, why have these policyholders who are really the victims of what I call a train wreck, a massive train wreck that took place in Trinidad and Tobago, they have not been made whole, despite the fact that Clico is sitting down on billions of dollars. And as I made the point on the program, that we don't want any money from the Treasury, you know. The government got back all their money from Clico, which they gave to Clico to assist the policyholders, and we are very appreciative of that. What has transpired is that we got a portion of what we are due. And we knew what the situation was at the time Clico was in the red. Now that assets have appreciated in value, now that Clico has sold off assets and made profit of the whole thing, why are these policyholders not being paid the residual balance that they are contractually due? And I want to make that point. They are contractually due this money. This is not money that they're asking any favors for. And I'm saying Jennifer Fredericks, I want to use your program, Mariano, to call on Jennifer Fredericks, who is the chairman of the Clico board. I think she was nominated and appointed by the liquidator, but she's in charge now. She has a duty to tell the management that these policyholders have to be paid what is contractually due to them. We all have policies that are still in effect, and they are not being honored.
Stick a pin on
yep,
that.
Sure. Go on, Mario.
You're saying that the chairman of Clico was appointed by the liquidators?
Yes. In other words,
but what share? I mean, what was they still hold all the shares?
All right, let me explain it to you quickly. The CL Financial owns 51% of the shareholding in Clico.
Okay.
The other 49% was acquired. Let me use that word, acquired by the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago as a result of the MOU and the quote-unquote bailout. And therefore, remember, and if you go back to the shareholders' agreement, I think that was under Conrad Enel when he negotiated that agreement.
No. Karen Nunes Teixeira, you wouldn't want to...
No, but it was under Karen Nunes Teixeira, but I distinctly remember, I'm seeing it in my head now, the document, the shareholders' agreement was signed, not by Karen, I think it was by Conrad Enel. I don't know what happened there, but it's Conrad Enel. But the point I want to make with that is that, remember, the government had management control of Clico.
Correct.
And CL Financial. They had five directors, four directors, I think, one of whom was the chairman, and Clico CL Financial was represented by three of the former directors of CL Financial. So what you have is a situation where now that the liquidator has come into the picture in 2017, the liquidator can now appoint the majority of directors on the board of Clico. The government has the opportunity to appoint the other directors, but the people who has the control in terms of the governance is the liquidator. So the liquidator would have appointed. In fact, I'm not even sure if the government appointed any of the directors so far. They had the opportunity to do. That was under Coleman, but I don't think they did. But the point is, Jennifer Frederick is the chairman, and the other directors were appointed by the liquidator of CL Financial. So what I'm saying is the legal position, because one of the arguments that the former Minister of Finance was using is that the policyholders sold their policies. You know, and I know, Mariano, under the Insurance Act, you cannot sell an insurance policy. What you can do is assign the insurance policy to a financial institution, and you can get credit facilities as a result of that assignment.
Correct.
That is exactly what happened in this situation.
Or you could surrender
those policies were assigned.
Or you could surrender the policy.
Or you could surrender the policy to the company.
Yes.
But the point I'm making is, in this situation, in order for Clico to get funds from the government, what the government required at the time was that the policies, each policy of every policyholder who had an executive flexible premium annuity policy, had to be assigned to the government. And that assignment took place. The government injected the bonds and some cash, and the rest is all history. So the point I'm making is, now that the government has been repaid, and it's on record, this is not Peter Permell saying so, and I'm sure this is not Mariano Brown saying so. This is Colm Imbert, was the then finance minister. He said so. It's on Hansard in the parliament. And the central bank governor also said so. So I'm saying that now that this money has been repaid, there is no basis in law or otherwise for Clico to not pay these policyholders the residual balances that they are due. It is crazy. It's nonsense. And if they're looking for a lawsuit, trust me, they could get that.
Another one?
But I'm saying for the time being, I'm hoping that they do the honorable thing, do what is the right thing, and pay these policyholders.
My key point this morning, and my key point is, this is it. All right, I'm less interested in terms of which criminal charge was not laid.
Sure.
I'm more interested in what policy lessons were learned and whether the law has been changed to reflect that. Law and practice has been changed. Right?
Sure.
And that is not something that is put on the table. What we got is the we lay the report in Parliament, and then they get a whole set, who start what and who benefit from it and how much $1 million this one get. Nothing came with regard to what are the policy changes moving forward to ensure that a debacle of this nature does not rear its head again.
Yeah. Let me stick up in there, Mario. In fairness to everyone here, everyone who I suppose who's involved in the thing at the governmental level and so on. Remember, the new Insurance Act was a result of that Commission of Inquiry. A lot of the features of that new Insurance Act came about as a result of the discussions that were held during that Commission of Inquiry. So we have an improved Insurance Act. I mean, it's not ideal, it's not perfect. We don't live in a perfect world. But I want to acknowledge that there were significant changes. And I'll give you a simple example. Like the whole question of holding shares. An insurance company cannot hold more than 20% of the shares in any other entity, which was not the case when Lawrence Dupree and others were there. Remember, Republic Bank is a case in point. They held about 54% of the shares in Republic Bank. So what you had is a situation where you could have a contagion effect, whereby if the insurance company fell, the bank could also fall. And as you will recall, Mariano, there were lines in front of Republic Bank. I remember during that time, and that's one of the reasons for the benefit of people saying why they bail out Clico and what blah blah blah. They bailed out Clico not because they like policyholders. They bailed out Clico because they were in a financial disaster. The economy would have crashed.
We'll also have to say that the way that memorandum was handled at the time was also poorly handled.
Okay, I would agree with that.
You don't make an announcement in the middle of the day, right? When all the institutions are open. That's one of the reasons why major financial announcements are made in the evening after 5.
On a Friday afternoon, usually.
Friday afternoon, right? When you can't do anything about it. So you give time for people to adjust, and you could put things in position so you could deal with it on Monday morning.
Correct.
Right? And you could make whatever necessary assurances and everything else and so on. You get people time to adjust. Right? We threw out all the lessons that we had learned in the Workers' Bank failure.
Sure.
Right? And that's another step about it. So I take your point, and quite frankly, it skipped my attention. It slipped my attention that they had made the 20% change, but I'm not too certain that's a good one.
There's only one change, Mario. In fact, there's the fit and proper test also for the directors.
The fit and proper test was there before.
No, but they have made it more stringent now, so that if you are a director or a significant shareholder, let's use shareholder is the correct term, in an entity that the central bank deems to be questionable, you can be asked to sell your shares in the entity.
Well,
the company that is
there's not what they ask, what they make you do. Not ask.
Well, of course they have the enforcement powers. Of course,
right.
They can make it. But I haven't gotten your view.
No.
Maybe before I get your view, what is your view on the policy holders? Should we get our money?
Well, I didn't realize you were one of them. I didn't realize that you were.
But I've been for 16 years now. I've been waving this flag for the Clico policy holders. I make no bones about that. I'm a proud Clico policy holder.
Good.
And I'm proud of all the policy holders who are stuck in there till this time. But some of them have died.
All right.
Some of them have left us.
So
and God rest their souls.
And so here's the point. Here's what I'm going to say. We're going to end the conversation here today at this point, and I'm going to invite you on the program on the next occasion so that we could go through some of the details.
You're very kind, Marion, and I willingly accept your invitation.
Thank you very much.